I'm going to continue playing my Hobbit saga, playing the last quest in the Overhill Underhill expansion, Dungeons Deep and Caverns Dim. During their escape from the goblins, who captured them on the western side of the mountains, Bilbo was separated from his companions and lost in the lightless caverns below. There, he was confronted by the creature Gollum. Meanwhile, the dwarves fought their way out the eastern gate and down the mountainside. They fled from the goblins' caves, only to be surrounded by wogs in a forest glade. I'm going to be playing with the same decks, with Dane Ironfoot, Nori, and Ori. And deck 2 with Gimli, Biffer, and Thalin. And we have our Bilbo, so the starting threat for the dwarf deck is 28. And the starting deck for deck 2 is 27. For our opening hands, Durin Song, Very Good Tale, King Under the Mountain, Cram, Unexpected Courage, and Lore of Moria. We got some card draw and readying. I'm going to keep this hand. Gandalf, Veteran Axe Hand, Glamdring, Citadel Plate, Veteran Axe Hand, and Gandalf. I'll keep this hand as well. "1A, Out of the Frying Pan. After killing the Great Goblin, Bilbo's companions fought to win their escape from the goblins. By the time they realized that Bilbo had been lost in the darkness, it was too late to turn back and search for him. Setup: a lake in the caverns to the staging area. Create a riddle area with stage 2A and follow the setup instructions on that card. So we got Lake in the Caverns. X threat, where X is twice the number of players in the game. Players cannot travel here. It's immune to player card effects. And Forced. After players advance to stage 3, remove Lake in the Caverns from the game. "2A, Riddles in the Dark. During the confusion, Bilbo stumbled down a tunnel and into Gollum's cave. There the Hobbit had to Outwit the creature Gollum in a dangerous riddle contest to discover the way out. Search the encounter deck for Gollum and Bilbo's magic ring. Place Gollum and Bilbo Baggins in the riddle area and attach Bilbo's magic ring to Bilbo Baggins. Then shuffle the encounter deck. So we got Bilbo's magic ring. You can spend one Baggins resource to discard an additional card when you are answering a riddle. And you can exhaust the ring and raise your threat by 2 to put a resource onto Bilbo Baggins. And Gollum. 50 threat, 0, 2, 3, 5. Gollum. Forced. After the first player answers a riddle and fails to find at least one match, Gollum attacks Bilbo Baggins. Do not deal a shadow card for this attack. Here's the riddle area over here. "2B. 9 quest points. Players cannot advance to stage 3A unless both 1B and 2B are complete. Progress tokens cannot be added to or removed from this quest except by answering riddles. Cards in the riddle area are immune to player card effects and cannot leave the riddle area except by quest effects. "1B. 14 quest points. Players cannot advance to stage 3A unless both 1B and 2B are complete. Forced. Reveal one additional card per player during the staging step." And the riddle keyword means that instead of revealing the card, you can answer the riddle and then discard the card. All our dwarf characters get +1 attack and willpower. Lore of Moria. I'm going to put a cram onto Gimli. Lower the deck 2. Ranger Spikes. Put Glamdring onto Gimli, giving him +2 attack. And when he destroys an orc, get a draw card. I'm going to move a resource from Salen's resource pool to Bipper and play a Ranger Spikes. There's 4 threat in the staging area. We're going to quest for 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Card 1, Goblin Axeman. Gets trapped and takes a damage from Stalin's ability. Grip, Grab, Pinch, and Nab. When revealed, starting with the first player, each player must choose 1 goblin enemy from the discard pile and add it to the staging area, where joke's on you, there's no cards in the discard pile. Card 3, it's a riddle. The first player names a card type and cost, shuffles his deck, and then discards the top 3 cards. For each of those cards that matches both items, place 1 progress token on this stage. I'm going to say Ally 3. Hidden Cache. So there's no ones that cost 3, but we do get to put 2 resources onto a hero because the Hidden Cache. We're going to put that onto Dane. So I'm going to have Gollum attack Bilbo. And now, last card, Riddle. The first player names the card type, shuffles his deck, and discards the top 2 cards. For each of those cards that matches, place 1 progress token on stage 2. I'm going to say Ally. Ally and Advance. So we get to put 1 progress. And so we had 1 threat to the staging area, so we quested successfully by 6. And then we're going to raise each of our threats by 2. To add another resource to Bilbo. And go to the next round. Faint. We're going to put down a Veteran Axe Hand. Over to Deck 1, King Under the Mountain. We're going to put a King Under the Mountain onto Dane. Now we can look at the top 2 cards, put one into our hand and discard the other. We're going to put the Dwarf Pipe into our hand and put that down. Now when a card is discarded from the top of our deck, we can exhaust the Dwarf Pipe to put it at the bottom. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. There's 5 in the staging area. We're going to quest for 11 again. First card, Goblin Caves. Goblin Miners. Takes the damage. Wild Wogs. Riddle. The first player names a card type, shuffles his deck, and discards the top 2 cards. For each of those cards that matches, place 1 progress token on stage 2. I'm going to say Advent. Ally and Ally. Then a resource, discard another one, it's an event. Now card 4, Goblin Runner. Surge. Hiding in the Trees. Riddle. The first player names a card type and spear. Shuffles his deck and discards the top 3 cards. For each of those cards that matches both items, place 1 progress token on stage 2. I'm going to say Tactics, Ally. One. Oh, it's 3 cards. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we broke even. We're going to travel to the Goblin Caves. Now we're going to, we got to engage We're going to engage the Goblin Runners with deck 1 and the Goblin Miners with deck 2. We're going to block with our Veteran Axe hand. Defending player exhausts one character he controls. Well, we're going to block with Dane. No shadow, no damage. We're going to ready up Gimli with Cram, and then attack and destroy the Goblin Miners. Let me get a draw card. Hennemar's River Song. The Veteran Axe hand takes 1 damage. I'm going to raise each of our threats by 2 to put another resource onto Bilbo and go to the next round. Keeley. We're going to exhaust the King Honor the Mountain. Look at the top 2 cards. We're going to put the Longbeard Elder into our hand and put the Very Good Tail at the bottom of our deck using the Dwarf Pipe. Now we're going to put the Longbeard Elder into play. We reduce our threat by 1. Go over to deck 2. Duran's Ruins. For our opening hands. Fram, We Are Not Idle, Hidden Cache, Arid Nimrus Prospector, Lowen, and Feely. We'll keep this hand. Deck 2. Lowen, Radagast Cunning, Secret Pass, Protector of Lorien, Duran's Ruins, and Honor Guard. Gonna take a mulligan. Veteran Axe hand, Leywine, Radagast Cunning, Secret Pass, Protector of Lorien, Duran's Ruins. One A. Out of the Frying Pan. After killing the Great Goblin, Bilbo's companions fought to win their escape from the goblins. By the time they realized that Bilbo had been lost in the darkness, it was too late to turn back and search for him. Setup. At Lake in the Caverns to the staging area, create a riddle area with stage 2A and follow the setup instructions on that card. So here's a lake in the Caverns. X threat, where X is twice the number of players in the game. Players cannot travel here. Immune to player card effects. And forced. After players advance to stage 3, remove Lake in the Caverns from the game. (2A) Riddles in the Dark. During the confusion, Bilbo stumbled down a tunnel and into Gollum's cave. There the Hobbit had to outwit the creature Gollum in a dangerous riddle contest to discover the way out. Setup. Search the encounter deck for Gollum and Bilbo's magic ring. Place Gollum and Bilbo's magic ring in the riddle area and attach Bilbo's magic ring to Bilbo Baggins. Then shuffle the encounter deck. I got Bilbo's magic ring. When answering a riddle, you can spend 1 Baggins resource to discard an additional card from the top of your deck, and you can exhaust the magic ring to raise each player's threat by 2 to add 1 Baggins resource to Bilbo's resource pool. So we're going to have a riddle area over here. In Gollum, 50 threat, 0, 2, 3, 5, Gollum, forced. After the first player answers a riddle and fails to find at least 1 match, Gollum attacks Bilbo Baggins. Do not deal a shadow card for this attack. 2B, 9 quest points. Players cannot advance to stage 3A unless both 1B and 2B are complete. Progress tokens cannot be added to or removed from this quest except by answering riddles. Cards in the riddle area immune to player card effects cannot leave the riddle area except by quest effects. 1B, 14 quest points. Players cannot advance to stage 3A unless both 1B and 2B are complete. Forced. Reveal 1 additional encounter card per player during the staging step. And riddles. When a encounter card with the riddle keyword is revealed, you can either answer the riddle or reveal the card. And if you answer the riddle, you discard the card. All dwarf characters get +1 attack and willpower. Well, Dane is ready. Feely. We're going to play We Are Not Idle. Exhaust X dwarf heroes to add X resources to a hero's resource pool and draw 1 card. We're going to exhaust Ori and Nori to add 2 resources to Dane. Then we draw a card. Then we're going to play Feely. After you play Feely from your hand during the planning phase, search your deck for Keely and put him into play under your control. Then shuffle your deck. Reduce our threat by 1. I'm going to put a cram onto Gimli. Over to deck 2. Ranger Spikes. Play a Duran's Ruins. Draw 2 cards. I'm going to put down a Gondorian Spearman. We also have to discard a card for Duran's Ruins. There's 4 in the staging area. We're going to quest for 2, 4, 7, 9. First card, Goblin Miners. Dealt 1 damage. Card 2, Come Down, Little Birds. The first player names the card type and cost, shuffles his deck, then discards the top 3 cards. For each of those cards that matches both items, place 1 progress token on stage 2. We're going to say 3, ally. Three. So we got 1. And this comes into play when it's discarded from the top of your deck. So we put 1 progress on it. Now we go to the next card. Card number 3, Wild Wogs. The first player names the card type, shuffles his deck, and discards the top 2 cards. For each of those cards that matches, place 1 progress token on stage 2. We're going to say ally. Ally and ally. We got another Heirloom Miner coming into play. So we get to put 2 progress. And last card, the Wog's Glade. Riddle. The first player names a spear, shuffles his deck, and discards the top card. For each of those cards that matches, place 1 progress token on stage 2. I'm going to say leadership. It's leadership. So we added 2 threats to the staging area. So we quest successfully by 3. We're going to raise each of our threats by 2. To add 1 resource to Bilbo. I'm going to engage the goblin miners that I'm going to block with the Gondorian spearmen, and it does 1 damage to the goblin miners and it's destroyed. It's a nice little combo. Now we're going to go to the next round. We're going to raise each of our threats by 2 to put another resource onto Bilbo. Quick strike. Going to put a ranger spikes into the staging area. That will trap the first enemy that's revealed and it can't engage us. It gets -1 threat. I'm going to put a veteran axe hand into play. Over to deck 1, we're going to draw 2 cards because we have 5 or more dwarfs in play. Erebor Hammersmith and Erebor Record Keeper. We're going to put an Erebor Record Keeper into play. Reduce our threat by 1. Now we're going to go into the questing phase. I'm going to quest for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. First card is It Likes Riddles. The first player names a cost, shuffles his deck, and then discards the top 2 cards. For each of those cards that matches, place 1 progress token on stage 2. I'm going to say 2. 1, 1. Spend a resource. 1. Spend a resource. 2. Now we answered the riddle correctly, so we discarded cards. Wild Wogs. The first player names a card type, shuffles his deck, and discards the top 2 cards. For each of those cards that matches, place 1 progress token on stage 2. I'm going to say Advent. One Advent. Card 2. What's in my pocket? Riddle. First player names a spear and cost. Shuffles his deck and discards the top 2 cards. For each of those cards that matches both items, place 1 progress on stage 2. We're going to say 2 tactics. There's 1, 2 tactics, so we get to put 1 progress. Card 3. Goblin Axeman. He's caught in a trap. And card 4 is Grip, Grab, Pinch, and Nab. When revealed, starting with the first player, each player must choose 1 goblin enemy in the discard pile and add to the staging area. Well, there's only 1 goblin enemy in the discard pile. The Goblin Miners. And it doesn't get any damage put on it because it was added, not revealed. So we have a total of 2, 3, 7 in the staging area, and we quested for 20, so that adds 13. So we've completed stage 1B. Now we're going to engage the Goblin Miners. And the Goblin Axeman over here. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to block the Goblin Miners with the door. Oh, that's exhausted. We're going to take it undefended. Defending character gets -1 defense, so there's no defending character, so 2 damage. We're going to put that on to Gimli. And then we're going to block with the Gondorian Spearman, because he's got Sentinel, and deals 1 damage and it's destroyed. And now we're going to attack with Gimli and destroy the Goblin Miners. We get to draw a card. No, that's not. We don't have that card. Okay. We're going to raise our threat by 1 and go to the next round. Now we're going to raise our threat by 2 and add a resource to Bilbo. Draw 2 cards. Unexpected Courage and a Dwarf Pipe. I'm going to put an Unexpected Courage onto Gimli. We're going to play an Erebor Hammersmith. And we're going to put the Ranger Spikes into deck 2's hand. We get to reduce our threat by 1. Go over to deck 2, Dark Knowledge. Move 1 resource from Silence to Biffer and play the Ranger Spikes. The questing, there's 4 in the staging area. And we're going to quest 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Card 1, Goblin Runner. He's caught in a trap. And Surge. So card 1, Great Grey Wolf. The first player names a card type, spear, and cost. Shuffles his deck and discards the top 3 cards. For each of those cards that matches all 3 items, place 1 progress token on stage 2. We're going to say Leadership Ally 3. No, but we do Hidden Cache. So that puts 2 progress here. And we're going to have Golem attack. Card 2, Goblin Miners. Card 3, it likes riddles. The first player names the cost, shuffles his deck, then discards the top 2 cards. For each of those cards that matches, place 1 progress token on stage 2. And if we answer correctly, we discard cards until we reveal another riddle. I'm going to say 2. 1, 1. Spend a riddle. Or resource. 1. Spend a resource. 3. Spend a resource. 2. Razors. We have to discard cards. A riddle. The first player names the spear and cost. Shuffles his deck and discards the top 2 cards. For each of those cards that matches both items, place 1 progress token on stage 2. Three, leadership. There's a 3 leadership. So put the 9th progress here. So that was card 3. So we have 1 more card to reveal from this stage. "3A. Into the fire. To everyone's surprise, Bilbo Baggins rejoined his companions on the east side of the Misty Mountains. However, their celebration was cut short by chilling sound of wolves howling close to the frightened hobbit. It seemed that they had escaped from the goblins only to be eaten by wogs. "3B. Into the fire. 16 quest points. When revealed, the first player gains control of Bilbo Baggins. Reveal 1 encounter card per player and add it to the staging area. Gollum engages the first player. Damage from undefended attacks by Gollum must be placed on Bilbo Baggins. All riddle effects are ignored. Treachery cards gain surge. If the players defeat this stage, they have won the game." So Gollum, Bilbo, with the first player now. And we have 3 cards to reveal. 1 from the previous quest phase, stage, and 2 from this one. Goblin Axeman. Wogs. After a character takes damage from an attack made by a creature enemy, remove 1 progress from the current quest. And last one, Goblin Driver. When revealed, the first player exhausts 1 character he controls. Takes 1 damage. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is removed. And we quested for 13. So that puts 4 progress here. And during this action window, before I put progress, I'm going to spend 1 resource from Nori and give it over to Biffer. And then I'm going to spend a Radagast Cunning quest action. Choose an enemy in the staging area. Until the end of the phase, that enemy does not contribute its threat. We're going to target the Goblin Driver, so that reduces 3. So it's down to 6 in the staging area, so we put 7 on the main quest. Now we have 3 enemies coming down. Gonna engage this one over here. That was a goblin miners. Goblin driver engages the deck 1 optionally, and then we're going to have and then they engage the axeman. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to block with Dane. Attacking enemy gets +1, so he's attacking for 3, so no damage. And now we're going to block with Feely. Defending player exhausts 1 character. We'll exhaust an heirloom miner. Keely takes no damage. And then we're gonna block the goblin miner with the spearman and destroys them. Now we're gonna attack back with we're gonna play we're just gonna attack back. These are all he's exhausted, so we don't get the bonus, so we're attacking for 1, 2, 3. And that will destroy the goblin axeman. And we go to the next round. Oh, Golem attacks too. So we're not going to destroy. We're going to block with Keely. Raise your threat by the number of goblin enemies. So we had 2. So we raise our threat by 2. Keely takes 1 damage. And we have no attacks. So now we're going to go to the next round. Gollum and Bilbo come over here. These are engaged over here. Veteran Axe Hand. Going to put a Veteran Axe Hand into play. Honor Guard into play. You draw 2 cards. Sneak Attack and Dory. We're going to put in Glowing. And if you have 5 or more dwarves, you can add 2 resources to it. Heroes Resource Pool, we're going to add it to Ori. We reduce our threat by 1. We're going to play Dory. We added 2 resources, so we had 3. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. So we're going to quest for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We're going to leave 1 character up. So that's 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And over here, we're going to quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 29. $30, 31, 32. And then we're going to ready up with Unexpected Courage. And there is 2 in the staging area. And we need 9. And we reveal 2 cards, and treacheries gain surge, and riddles are ignored. Goblin Runner takes 1 damage. Surge. Goblin Caves. Grip, Grab, Pinch, and Nab. Starting with the first player, each player chooses 1 goblin enemy in the discard pile and adds it to the staging area. Gonna get a Goblin Miner and another Goblin Miner. And now that has Surge. Come down, little birds. You have to search the deck for a creature. So each player searches for a creature. Puts it into play, engages us. So wogs and wogs. And then we shuffle it in counter deck. And that had Surge. We're going to play a Test the Will and cancel that effect. But it still surges. Goblin Driver. First player exhausts a character. That's why I left a character up. So I wouldn't have to exhaust Dane. We're going to exhaust Feely. So there's one. Now we're going to play a Secret Pass and target the Goblin Cave, so that doesn't contribute as threat. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the staging area. And we quested for 32, so we put 22 onto the main quest, bringing us up to 29. So there's a win. We survived those riddles. Gollum only dealt Bilbo 1 damage. We did it in 4 rounds. And I would say the MVPs were the Gondorian Spearman for and I have to put out, I'm going to say the Hidden Cache, because that made me able to put a lot of my allies into play. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in Flies and Spiders.